The lies that destroyed my life. I almost named this video something shorter, but the truth needs the weight of every word. If you've ever felt the floor drop out from under you because someone you loved chose someone else, stay with me. This is my story, how little lies grew into an island of secrets that pulled apart everything I thought I knew. My name is Maya, and this is the true infidelity story I posted on Reddit that changed how I see trust forever. It started like any other comfortable life. Ethan and I met in college, young and reckless, and convinced we had all the time in the world. We built a life that looked right from the outside, a 2-bedroom apartment with a tiny balcony where I degrow herbs, Sunday morning pancakes, movie nights that always ended with him quoting the worst lines. We celebrated small victories loudly and supported each other through the quiet failures. Somewhere between promotions and mortgage paperwork, love learned routine. I told myself that routine was safe. I was wrong. The first hint of trouble was the kind you ignore because it is easier to believe in the version of someone you love. Ethan started staying late at work more often. He'd text me goodnight from the office and then be radio silent for hours. Once, he forgot our anniversary dinner and apologized with a sort of sincere half-smile that made me forgive him faster than I should have. The tiny red flags were soft, only visible when I looked closely. A name that I didn't know in his phone, a lipstick stain on a sweater he swore belonged to a coworker. When I asked, his answers fit together like practice pieces. He was good at being convincing. I wanted to believe him. My friend Rachel always said I had a talent for ignoring the obvious. She lived 3 blocks away and had a frankness that both comforted and frightened me. One rainy evening, after a few glasses of wine, she said, "Maya, stop patching things with hope. Look for proof." So I did the coward's thing and searched. People will argue whether snooping is ever justified. I wanted to judge you if you've been where I was. When I found the screenshots, everything changed. They were casual messages at first. Coffee this weekend? Can't wait to see you. Miss you already. Lines that could mean anything until you trace them back. The person Ethan was messaging wasn't a coworker. Her name was Donnie, and she worked at the studio he'd been helping. The messages escalated quickly, from late-night jokes to plans for secret lunches. There were photos. A coffee cup with his lipstick on the rim, a selfie of 2 silhouettes leaning too close. The weight of those images made my stomach fall like I'd been shoved. I confronted him the next morning. He came home with that practiced half-smile, the one I'd let absolve so many small hurts. I showed him the screenshots and watched Ethan become a man I didn't know, defenseless at first, then angry, then pleading. He said it was nothing, that dating meant nothing, that he loved me. He claimed the photos were taken out of context, that work friendships can be close without meaning anything. He promised the affair wasn't physical, that it was a mistake in emotional boundaries. He suggested counseling, compromise, 1,000 things that sounded like rearranging the deck chairs. What hurt more than the affair was the ease with which his life had included parallel narratives. There are 2 types of lies, the careless white ones that smooth daily life, and the deliberate, slow-burning ones that grow roots into every corner of your world. Ethan's lies were the latter. He'd been careful, strategic. He created alibis. He apologized with rituals, a bouquet here, a promise there, that felt rehearsed because they were. My days became a strange blend of normalcy and suspicion. I loved a man who had built a shadow life, and loving him didn't feel like loyalty anymore. It felt like participating in my own erasure. Romantic tension, the kind you read about in novels, didn't die with discovery, it twisted. There were moments when I remembered the old Ethan, the way he'd press his forehead to mine across the kitchen counter, the familiar quality of his voice when he read aloud. Those memories were like talismans. They tempted me back into forgiveness because they were proof of what once existed. But the betrayal sat between us like a third person at the table, always reminding me that memory and truth are not the same thing. I started to keep a journal, not for anyone but myself. I wrote down dates, small details, how I felt on particular mornings. Writing is a strange form of rescue. It gives shape to the chaos. Some nights I lie awake thinking about what love means when it's fractured. Does forgiveness require forgetting? Can two people rebuild on a foundation that's been cracked by deliberate deceit? The louder questions push me to boundaries I never wanted to cross. Calls to lawyers, conversations with friends who were suddenly therapists at 3 in the morning, the painful arithmetic of what a life apart would look like. When I finally told Ethan I couldn't move forward in the same house, the conversation was both simple and catastrophic. He apologized in a way that admitted nothing. He offered to change without showing how. He asked for time, I asked for the truth. In the end, the truth looked like silence. He chose to remain with Danny. He chose a life where the habitual little lies were easier than facing the wreckage he had caused. I packed a bag and left the apartment that had been built on shared dreams. Leaving didn't feel like victory. It felt like stepping into fog. The early months after divorce are a strange territory between grief and relief. People keep asking if I regret anything, and the answer is complicated. I regret the times I told myself comforting stories to avoid pain. I regret not listening to Rachel sooner, but I don't regret reclaiming myself. In the aftermath, I found a resilience I didn't know I had. New hobbies, new friendships, quiet mornings that belonged only to me. And through it all, I learned that healing isn't linear. Some days you feel free. Others you replay the past until it's a broken song. If there's anything I want you to take away from my story, it's this. Lies don't always explode all at once. They build slowly, like termites, leaving a home that looks fine until the floor caves in. Trust is not just about believing someone. It's about how someone behaves when the lights are off. If you feel the coolness of doubt, don't paper over it with excuses. Ask questions. Demand truth. And if the truth is that you were betrayed, know that choosing yourself is not selfish. It's necessary. The story ended not because Ethan stopped loving me or because I stopped loving him. It ended because love isn't enough to justify erasing someone's life with secrets. I still think about what we had. Sometimes I still hear his laugh in my head. But the version of me that walked out the door is the same version that wrote the Reddit post and chose to tell this story today. I'm sharing it not for pity, but because someone watching this might be holding a similar secret in their hands and wondering what to do next. Trust your gut. Hold your friends close. Tell the truth, even when it hurts.